on this call we could get things going. So I'm just gonna do a little 15-minute kind of introduction to Go. I've been messing with it for a few months now, and I think some of you might be interested in it. So for HTML5 apps, why would we care about Go? Mainly for server-side stuff. And that could be anything from just a regular like web server functionality to really complex web services. Go was developed at Google. These three employees that were pretty old had done some pretty major projects. We're getting frustrated with the tools at Google to do large, high-performance systems, which they're mainly doing them all in C++. So they came up with some ideas, and then eventually the ball got rolling. They got some more people involved with it, and started picking up a lot of steam. So this started about 4 or 5 years ago, and became a real product probably, I think, like 2 years ago. It is open source though. Google's kind of running the show, but a lot of people are involved with it. It's statically typed, compiles to an executable, and no runtime is required, which I'll talk more about that in a minute. And it is gaining popularity quite a bit. How many people have even heard of Go? Most have heard of it. How many people have played with Go? Nobody, not really. Okay. Statically typed, does that mean anything to most of you? If you're just in scripting languages, that's kind of like, whatever. But it's kind of a big deal. Let's go around the room a minute. Just out of curiosity, how many people are just using like a web server to do all their web stuff, like Apache or Nginx? That's the only thing that you use. So how about Node.js? Do that. Python frameworks? Nobody's doing that. Ruby? No Ruby on Rails? I've never used that. Doesn't work good. How about .NET? Java? Java guy. Any other ones that people are using to do the server side? PHP. Oh, PHP, right. This is not a commercial, but if you want to play with Go and you want to host it on the internet, not just on your PC, you need something like a DigitalOcean that will allow you to install what you want on there and also have long-running processes. I use it. It's $5 a month, no contract, and it seems to work well. So anyway, you do have to. I kind of like give you documentation, and here's the box, here's the documentation, go do what you want. So it's a little more to learn than maybe some other hosting situations. Okay, some of the key benefits of Go. First of all, it's really easy to set it up. You go to golang.org, download some stuff, install it. It's really simple. And deployment is probably one of the biggest things, I think, biggest advantages of Go. What it does is you take all the source codes of your projects, your third-party libraries, the Go standard library, all of it, and when you compile it, it creates a single executable file. You can take that one file, go stick it on any server that you want, and if it's compiled for that environment, you start it up and you've got the whole thing. You don't need anything else. No libraries, no runtimes. You don't even have to have a web server running, and it can do the whole ball of wax in one file. To me, that's pretty cool. Coding it, unlike most compiled languages like Java and C#, the syntax for Go is pretty succinct. It's different than JavaScript or Python, but it's real short. You know, if you type, how many of you are Java coders? I know we've got a few Java coders, and probably C# as well. There's quite a bit of verbiage involved with those languages. Well, Go has a lot less verbiage, so you can get a lot done in a lot less code. It's also high performance. It's probably in the same ballpark as Java. I don't know if it's as fast as C++, but it's still really young, and every version is getting a lot faster. It is suitable for really big projects, but because it's easy to set up and deploy it, it's great for small ones too. A couple of cool features. Go is real big on concurrency, having multiple things run at the same time, and the way they do it is really nice. This thing called Goroutines is kind of like a thread. So every time, say, a HTTP request comes in, it fires it up on its own thread, or not thread, but a Goroutine, and it runs. The big advantage of that is, like in Node.js, you don't have blocking I/O. No, that makes sense. No, need some of you. But the way Node.js does it, it uses callbacks. So you have to say when the I/O happens, here's where I want you to come back to. In Go, you don't use callbacks. You just the code stops running, waits for the I/O to happen, it gets the data, and it goes on. But because each request is on its own Go routine, they don't block each other. So they're all can just keep on running. That one request will stop, but all the other ones just keep on going. So I think, and you don't have to deal with the callback issues. Channels are a way for Go routines to interact with each other. So for example, this trace, what I do in one of my projects, I want to write information to a file, like a log file as the program's running, just so I can see where it's running as it's going. And what I've done is I've started on a Go routine that all it does is it looks on a channel for something to pop up on that channel. And when it sees it, it writes it to a log file. So the main Go routine, all it does is stick something on that channel, and it just keeps on going. The other Go routine sees it show up, and then it writes it out to the file. So that's you can do a lot with channels, but that's one way that I'm using them.
For a channel like queues, is it durable?
You can queue up, say, that channel if you're pushing a whole lot of things to it, and the receiver on their side can't keep up with it. You can tell it how many you want to queue up. You can say queue 0. If you queue 0, then the one that sends the message will wait until the other one gets through with it. Or you say queue 10,000. And until 10,000 are queued up, it'll just keep going and going. So a queue is kind of a part of it. Also, the standard library that comes with it.
On restarts, though, is it durable? So if your machine restarted and you had 1,000 queued up, would it be trash? Or when it comes back up, would they still be for the channel?
It's a good question. You'd probably need some kind of graceful shutdown.
I was just wondering how you
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about that part of it.
Might be part of your program to set that up, unless it's got
That would be something definitely to have to do a little research on how that application is done.
In that case, if you want it durable, then you do something like advanced message queuing protocol, rather than queue or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but possibly.
I was just wondering how channels are really working.
And I will say, it sounds like it would be kind of complicated to use Go routines and channels, but the way you code it, they're really simple. The syntax is real obvious and real simple. Plus the standard library has got like bukus and stuff in there, especially web service kinds of functionality. Nothing's perfect. If you're primarily coming from JavaScript or Python or Ruby or something like that, some aspects of Go probably won't look you won't be real comfortable, particularly the idea of pointers. How many of you mess with pointers when you read code? So if you know what a pointer is, you're kind of used to seeing them. I will say the way Go uses pointers is it's very simplistic though. It's not hard to catch on to it, but it is different than a lot of other languages. I think the first day that I worked with Go, at the end of the day I said, I don't like it. It's too funky or something. Then I made myself kind of work on it a few more days. And after about a week of messing with it, I was like, dang, I really like it. This is not cool. So if you don't like it the first day, I'd say still give it a chance. Okay, here's a little sample Go program. This is the whole program. It's basically 6 lines of code. This will create a web server. And if you start it up on your PC, go to your browser, go to localhost / put like Halloween.html. It's going to look in the public subfolder. If it finds a Halloween.html, it's going to return it to your browser. So it's like a simple. So that functionality is almost built into the system, and it's real easy to engage it. Of course, if you're going to write a web service and you want to put custom logic, you can have the web server, the file server, the page before this work, and also add these custom route handlers to it as well. So that first line up there, the HTTP handle hello, I could put that first line anywhere above the listen and serve line. I want to keep everything else I've got there and just add that one line like right above listen and serve, but keep the other one, and I'd have a file server and a web service both. So what happens is if the URL came in with started with /hello, it would invoke the hello handler of that function. Every handler function gets 2 parameters. One's a response writer and one is a pointer to the request. The little star there just means it's a pointer. The variable name is W for the response writer and R for the request. And so then you can got full access to the request. You can look at anything about the request, do your logic in there, and then send the response back out. The response back.
What are the similarities between this and Swift?
I did not know Swift. I don't think Swift does any server side. Isn't it all device side? No, you can do server side with Swift. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. Go does run on Windows, Linux, OS X. They're starting to get pieces of it running on Android, but they're not saying the whole thing's going to be supported on Android. So it runs just about everywhere. Anyway, the main website is golang.org. There's a lot of good documentation connected to that website. I don't know anybody else that's using it. If you poke around in it and you want to kind of get going with it and you have some questions, I mean, feel free to shoot me an email. And I'd love to have somebody else just to, trade ideas with. Anyway, I like it. I've got a project now. It's up to about 1,000 lines on the Go side of it. And the more I use it, the more I like it. Any questions? All right.
What's compiling? So you can put this, you said that it goes into an exe. How is the compiling part of this? And you can compile it on Windows and on Linux also.
Right now, I'm keeping my source code on both environments and compiling in both places.
Okay.
I believe I can set it up on Windows to create a Linux executable on my Windows, but I haven't even gone through the process to really figure out how to do that. I think that is an option.
From what I understand, I don't think it really matters because the Go code compiles directly to the chip architecture. So even if you compile it on one OS, you can just drop the executable to different systems.
No, it does have to. When it compiles, there's some environment variables that tell it the target operating system and processor. You can compile it for an ARM processor if you want, or Linux, for Linux ARM or Windows x86. But it has to target one of those